The Lord has risen from the dead. He is risen indeed. Alleluia. The traditional Easter greeting. Happy Easter to you all. This great feast is the heart not only of the Christian year, but the heart of all human existence. Let's take a moment to reflect on that on this Easter morning. It's difficult for us, I think, to imagine what was going through the minds and in the hearts of the first disciples on that Easter morning, when the women returned from the tomb with the news that he had risen from the dead. The stone had been rolled away. The body of Jesus was not there, and the women understood that he had risen from the dead. This, of course, had never happened before. Can you begin to comprehend how that just doesn't comprehend? It doesn't compute. When someone dies, they are dead. That is the end. And now here is someone risen from the dead. There's a wonderful image, a painting by Eugene Burnand in the late 19th century, where the painting depicts Peter and John running towards the tomb on hearing the news from the women that he has risen. They're running towards the tomb. This is a powerful image because Burnand in his art captures something of the confusion, the excitement, the uncertainty of these disciples as they ran towards the tomb, wanting to believe and not really believing too. Perhaps also knowing in that moment too that they were going to have to face the one that they had denied, that they had betrayed, that they had run away from. All of the mixed emotions. And then we get over the next few hours and the next few days, the disciples growing in awareness of this event, what it means for them. Life has begun. It's very significant that at the Easter Vigil, one of the central parts of the vigil is the liturgy of baptism. I remember a few years ago when I was celebrating 25 years as a priest, and we have at that time an opportunity to gather for a meal with our brother priests and to share a few words. And I remember thinking beforehand, what would I say? What do you say to your brothers about this occasion of the Silver Jubilee of ordination? What is central? And it didn't really take me too much thinking, but my mind went back a good number of years to Otamatata, a small town on the south bank of the Waitaki River here in New Zealand, where I was baptized. It was a Sunday afternoon. My father had picked my mother and me up from the local hospital, and we were returning home via the church, where a group of 4 or 5 people only had gathered for my baptism. And this is what I reflected on with the priests, and I said to them, my life began. They were expecting me at that point, of course, to name my birthday, or maybe a moment 9 months earlier, but I said my life really began on the 10th of September in 1961 when I was baptized. This is the moment of the beginning of life. You see, human life does begin at conception. We see the newborn child at birth, and this human life continues for 70, 80, 90 years if we are lucky and strong. But that's when this human existence finishes. At the moment of my baptism, what began was my eternal existence. And so the whole dimension of human reality shifts because of the resurrection of Jesus. This is what the disciples were grasping with, were trying to understand as they were running to the tomb, and then as they encountered the risen Jesus, who later that day said to them, "Do not be afraid." He was with them, but not simply in the way that he was with them before his death. He was no longer limited by time and space. It was also not simply a resurrected form, as Lazarus had been resurrected. We heard about that a couple of weeks ago in the Sunday scripture. So this wasn't simply a resuscitation. This was a resurrection, a whole new form of existence. And for those of us who are baptized, this existence has already begun, this eternal existence. Our life began in our baptism. Of course, the challenge that we have is to accept and to understand and to live this new existence. Everything's pressuring us to live as though this world and what this world can offer and the years that we spend here on earth are the sum total of our entire existence. Of course, this is not the fact. The fact is that we now, because of the death and resurrection of Christ, because in our baptism We said yes to this great event, to this new life. We are a new people. We are an Easter people, and Alleluia is our song.